No passing game, no head coach, no problem for the Michigan Wolverines.
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
Sherrone Moore had one job. When he and others learned after they got off the plane that Jim Harbaugh was not going to be on the sidelines, there was one thing that he had to do when he was meeting his guys into the locker room, when he was taking them out onto the field at Beaver Stadium. Have them mentally prepared, have them physically prepared, have them in the moment, and tune out the noise and tune out the distraction, because I can't even fathom, right? You can stand whatever side of the fence you want to stand on. But if you think you survive the week in Ann Arbor as it pertains to a possible suspension, you get on the plane, and then I can't imagine landing down, and then all of a sudden, you don't have your head coach. In terms of on the field, X's and O's, those are quick conversations that need to be had at that moment in time to make sure that this team is ready to play, not just against any team, but a good football team on the road in a hostile environment like Penn State. That's where I wanted to start. Good job by this coaching staff to be ready to play when they don't have their fearless leader in Jim Harbaugh. I want to start off with this when I talk about this Michigan-Penn State game. These two defenses are not good, they're not great, they are freaking elite. These defenses are outstanding. Jesse Minter and Manny Diaz have done a great job respectively with each one of these defenses. From a Penn State point of view, this defense kept them in this football game. It certainly wasn't their offense. There have been frustrations all season long, and this game was a microcosm, possibly of the Penn State season, where maybe their offense isn't doing good things against teams that have a good defense, but their defense on the other side, the blue and white defense, is outstanding. They keep Penn State in every single football game that they play this season. Then you look at the other side of the ball. We know what Michigan had, and we know what Michigan needed to do. I said it in my preview. You needed to attack that Penn State offensive line that had trouble with a Buckeye defensive front. And that's exactly what they did. And you look at when you look at the secondary, when you look at Will Johnson and the Mikey Sanderstill and some of those other defensive backs back there, they were very content in one-on-one coverage. They were very content bringing 6, bringing 7, attacking that offensive line, bringing pressure on Drew Aller, and they were comfortable with those matchups back there in the secondary in this game. Back to the basics. Back to old school football for the winged helmets and the maize and blue, wasn't it? Back to the run game. J.J. McCarthy, a Heisman candidate so far this season, maybe one of the most talented quarterbacks in all of college football, threw 8 passes. That's right, 8 passes. Because Michigan did what they do against Penn State. They run the ball up the middle, and they do it effectively. Blake Corum, 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. That offensive line attacked. Now, I said this Penn State defense is elite, and it is. But they just don't have, especially in the interior of that defensive line, they don't have the girth, they don't have the size to be able to go up against a Michigan run game. They just don't have it. They are a very athletic defense. Their pass rush is great, coming off the edge with guys like Chop Robinson and Adisa Isaac and Danny Dennis Sutton. Those guys are outstanding when opposing teams go back to pass. And I think Michigan realized that. They said, if we send JJ back there 20 times, 30 times, they're going to attack us. They're going to attack the offensive tackles. And we could be in trouble. So we need to pound the rock. We need to play old school smash mouth Michigan Wolverines football. And that's exactly what happened. I've been saying it this whole season. Michigan can beat you any way they choose to beat you. Sound familiar? I've been saying it before where maybe we're used to Michigan running the ball and they've been beating teams throwing the ball over the top. Now you flip it back to the run game. All of a sudden, when everybody thinks, look at this Michigan passing attack, now they get back to the basics. They get back to maize and blue football, and that's running the football right at you, and that's running the football right up the middle. And they did it very effectively against this Penn State defense. Once again, Michigan on offense might be the most complete offense in all of college football. All right, let's talk about Penn State. We have to talk about Penn State. Where's the ceiling? Where's the ceiling? Right now, it's 10-2. Okay, you need to really start talking about that when you talk about the Penn State Nittany Lions. Sure, guys like Aller and Singleton and Allen and Carter are going to be back as true juniors next season, but look at the clip that Ohio State is recruiting at. Look at the clip that maybe a new member like an Oregon is recruiting at. 10-2 appears to be the ceiling for James Franklin. They have had a tremendously difficult time leapfrogging teams like Michigan, leapfrogging teams like Penn State. We need to start talking about that ceiling for James Franklin. And when we talk about this game and we talk about the ceiling, you got to talk about the offense. Okay, I mentioned how that Penn State defense is outstanding. They are elite. They kept the Nittany Lions in this football game. Absolutely zero doubt in that. But when you look at this offense, okay, I said it when I talked about Penn State and Maryland. In that game, the Nittany Lions were on schedule. Everything was happening as Mike Yurcich and Drew Aller planned it to happen. And even though they were dominant in that game against Maryland, I said, you get them a little bit off schedule, things could go south. Michigan brought the heat, and when things got off schedule, Drew Aller almost turns into a different type of quarterback. When things are going good and everything is going as it should, Drew Aller's a pretty darn good passer. But when you get a little pressure on him, you maybe force him to get out of his comfort zone a little bit, it doesn't go well because he doesn't have wide receivers that can make plays. He doesn't have wide receivers that can be depended on in key spots on a 3rd and 7 when we need a play to be made. Sometimes a lot of times those guys don't get open. Other times, Drew Aller throws it behind a wide receiver. Whatever it is, whether it's been the wide receiver or the quarterback, when things get off schedule for Penn State, even in the slightest, this team can go a little bit south, and you saw that throughout this game. I don't know what's going on with the run game. I don't know. Look, Katron Allen, decent stats today. Nick Singleton, he's just not the same back, it appears, that he was a year ago. You're not seeing those big, explosive runs this season. Like I said, it's a methodical run game. I've been saying that about Penn State the last few weeks, but at some point, you need to make plays down the field. You need to impose that threat in a defense that you can hit a 20-yard play, that you can hit a 30-yard play. You need to stretch out the defense a little bit. Right now, opposing defenses can keep Penn State in the box, and you don't have to fear about them getting outside of that box. Jesse Minter definitely took full advantage of it. I want to talk about a couple of decisions that James Franklin made late in this game. How about 4th down with 4:30 to go? How about a 2-point conversion? That late touchdown, right? I would say kick the extra point, give yourself a chance, right? That's an 8-point game. It's still a 1-possession game because if you don't get the 2, you still got a chance at a game or to score again and then get the 2-point conversion later on. That 4th down, as I said, with 4:30 to go, your defense was the best unit on your team, maybe the best unit on the field in this game. And you don't trust your defense at that point in a 1-possession game? I think that was a mistake right there. So Michigan has proven, I think, to a lot of people, now they've beaten a good team. Now you can say that they have gone on the road and they have a quality win on their resume. Is it enough to jump them in the CFP rankings? I don't think so. But at the very least, You have to take that into consideration. You can't say anymore that Michigan hasn't played anybody because Penn State is a good team. They're not a great team, but Penn State is a good team. I don't think there's any question about that. Boy, this is going to be very interesting to see how this Michigan thing unfolds, right? They weren't able to get that injunction, that restraining order type of thing to allow Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines for this game. Boy, keep your eyes on the Maize and Blue. Keep your eyes on Michigan. And if you don't keep your eyes on them, your ears are probably going to hear everything that's going on with the Michigan Wolverines. I want to hear what you guys think of this matchup. Do you believe Michigan, now that they have a game on the road, a win on the road against a good team, do you believe a little bit more in terms of Michigan and their national championship hopes? And what about Penn State? Have the Nittany Lions reached their ceiling? Leave your thoughts, all things Michigan and Penn State, in the comments below. I'm Big Ten Ted. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching Big Ten Ted, where it's all Big Ten all year long. Make sure to like the video to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses, and subscribe to the channel for updates on Big Ten content that drops every day.